This is my series where I tell a story a day about moments that moved me away from being conservative, part 6. Last video I talked about some of the racist things that Trump has done and said that has made him, in my mind, to be morally reprehensible. Today we're going to be talking about the way that he's treated women. I'm going to be reading this article from the 19th that discusses each and every time that Trump has been accused of sexual harassment and or assault. So as you can imagine, it's pretty horrific. I have no idea how I'm going to be able to edit the captions well enough to not have this video be flagged, but I think the reason why I'm sharing this is that there is such a high number of women that have come and spoken out about Trump, and there's a lot of themes to the same type of actions that he's taken over and over again, and the details of understanding how bad that is, I think we just kind of gloss over sometimes, but feel free to skip this video if this is not content that is going to be healthy for you in a mental health type of way. Jessica Leeds told the New York Times in 2016 that in the late 1970s, Trump, who was a stranger to her, reached his hand up her skirt and grabbed her breast on a flight to New York. She said it was like an octopus, and his hands were everywhere, before she fled to the back of the plane. Ivanka Trump, Trump's first wife, accused him in a divorce deposition of raping her in a fit of rage in 1989 when they were married. She later said that she hadn't meant it in a literal or criminal sense. Kristen Anderson, a photographer and former model, told the Washington Post in 2016 that Trump sat next to her at a nightclub in the early 1990s and reached under her skirt. Anderson said that the incident lasted about 30 seconds, but she and her friend were very grossed out and weirded out. Stacey Williams told The Guardian that she met Trump in 1992 through Jeffrey Epstein, who later became a registered sex offender, was charged with sex trafficking, and died by suicide in 2019. Epstein suggested the two visit Trump in Trump Tower in New York in 1993. Williams said, and shortly after they arrived, Trump groped her breast and her bed. The Trump campaign denies the allegations. Jill Harth, who worked with Trump in the 1990s, accused him of attempted rape in a 1997 complaint. She said that in 1993, Trump tried to kiss her in his daughter's bedroom at his Mar-a-Lago resort, pushing her against a wall and putting his hand up her dress. She dropped the suit a few weeks after the filing, she said, as part of a settlement with Trump in a separate breach of contract, according to the Associated Press. Lisa Boyne, a health food business entrepreneur, told HuffPost in 2016 that she attended a dinner with Trump in 1996 where several women were forced to walk across a table while Trump lifted up their skirts and commented on their underwear and bodies. It was the most offensive scene I've ever been a part of, Boyne said. 5 former Miss Teen USA contestants told BuzzFeed News in 2016 that in 1997, Trump, the owner of the pageant at the time, unexpectedly walked into the contestants' dressing rooms while they were changing, which they found inappropriate. Myra Bilodeau said that she rushed to put on her dress and remembered him saying, "Don't worry, ladies, I've seen it all before." Victoria Hughes said it was the most inappropriate time to meet us all for the first time. The youngest girl was 15 and the eldest was 19. The other 3 women described a similar situation to BuzzFeed anonymously. However, 11 others said they did not recall seeing Trump in the dressing room at all. In an April 2005 interview on The Howard Stern Show, when asked about Miss USA and Miss Universe, Trump said he would go backstage before beauty pageants, the only man in the room while the women were standing there with no clothes. "As the owner, I sort of get away with things like that," he added. He was not asked about Miss Teen USA in the interview. E. Jean Carroll, a writer, said Trump raped her in 1996 in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. Carroll wrote about the incident in her 2019 memoir called What Do We Need Men For Anyways? In May 2023, Carroll was awarded $5 million after a jury held Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation, though not rape. Temple Target, former Miss Utah, told the New York Times in 2016 that Trump kissed me directly on the lips when he met her at the 1997 Miss USA pageant, and again when she met him in Manhattan after he offered to help her with her modeling career. Target described the incidents as inappropriate and said her first thought after he kissed her was, "Oh my God, gross." Kathy Heller told The Guardian in 2016 that Trump forcibly kissed her when she attended a Mother's Day brunch at Mar-a-Lago in the 1990s. Heller said she was angry and shaken after the former president ignored her handshake, grabbed her, and went for the lips, and became angry when she tried to turn her head away. Amy Doris, a former model, said Trump forcibly kissed and groped her in his private box in the U.S. Open Tennis Championship in 1997. Doris told The Guardian in 2020 that Trump shoved his tongue down my throat, and his hands were very gropey all over my butt, breast, back, and everything. Karina Virginia, a yoga instructor and life coach, told the Washington Post in 2016 that Trump groped her inexplicably, wrapping his arms around her and touching her breast in 1998 while she waited for a car outside the U.S. Open. Karen Johnson, who was a regular at Mar-a-Lago, said Trump pulled her behind a tapestry to kiss and grope her during a New Year's Eve party in the early 2000s. Johnson detailed the incident to journalists who later published it in their 2019 book, All the President's Women, Donald Trump and the Making of a Predator, along with 42 other allegations of sexual misconduct. Trisha Dixon, a former Miss USA contestant, told CBS in 2016 that in 2021, Trump walked into where she and other contestants were changing. Dixon said that she thought Trump owned the pageant for reasons to utilize his power to get around beautiful women. Melinda McGregory told Palm Beach Post in 2016 that Trump grabbed her butt without her consent in 2003 when they were backstage at Ray Charles' concert at Mar-a-Lago. Natasha Stoneyhoff, a former reporter for People magazine, wrote that in 2016 that Trump sexually assaulted her in 2005 while visiting Mar-a-Lago to work on a story about his first marriage with Melania. When they were alone, Stoneyhoff said Trump closed the door and pushed her against the wall, forcing his tongue down my throat. Julia Huddy, a former Fox News anchor, said on the Morning with Bill Schultz podcast in 2017 that Trump kissed her unexpectedly and without her consent in Trump Tower in the mid-2000s. Huddy said she didn't feel threatened at the time, but later realized she would have said no more clearly. Rachel Cooks, a former receptionist at Trump Tower, told the New York Times in 2016 that Trump kissed her directly on the mouth without her consent when she first met him in 2005. Samantha Hoverly, a former Miss USA contestant, told CNN in 2016 that when she competed in 2006, Trump personally inspected each contestant, looking at them from head to toe like sexual objects, which made her feel the dirtiest I've ever felt in my life. Nene Lakinson, a model and former Miss Finland, in 2016 told a Finnish newspaper that Trump squeezed her butt in 2006 when they were backstage at the Late Night Show with David Letterman. Jessica Drake, an actor in adult films, accused Trump during a 2016 news conference of grabbing her, kissing her without her consent, and offering her $10,000 to come to his penthouse hotel in 2006. Summer Zeros, a former contestant on The Apprentice, told reporters at a 2016 news conference that Trump sexually assaulted her in 2 separate occasions in 2007. The first was when she met him and he kissed her on the lips. Later that year, Zeros said Trump grabbed her shoulder, kissed her aggressively, placed his hand on her breast, and thrust himself on her before she was able to pull away and leave the room. Cassandra Zeros, a former Miss USA contestant, wrote in a 2016 Facebook post that Trump continually grabbed my ass and invited me to his hotel room when she competed in 2013. Ava Johnson, a former campaign manager, alleged in a 2019 lawsuit that Trump grabbed her hand and kissed her on the side of the mouth without her consent during a rally in 2016. If that isn't enough to convince you that this person is not someone to vote for, I really don't know what else will convince you. Tomorrow I'll talk more about my thoughts, but wanted to just take a moment today to share a little bit about some of the really messed up stuff that Trump has done in his life.